Hey, first grade. Today we are going to learn about artist Kandinsky. If you look above the bathroom door in the art room, you will see a poster of some of his work. It's actually one of his most famous and most recognizable work with all the circles. Kandinsky was an artist that liked to use music and lots of different colors and circles and organic shapes and lines. We'll talk more about what those things are in another project. Today we are going to be looking at this poster, getting inspired, and using some simple circle shapes to make a Kandinsky inspired work of art for our own. So you're going to get a piece of paper that looks like this with 6 different sections and 6 big circles already drawn in for you. You're going to use a Sharpie marker and you're going to draw more circles inside the circles that are already on your paper. You can draw small. You can have some that are bigger. You can do more than one circle inside. Maybe you might want to do one that has 3 circles. Let's not do more than 4 or 5 though, because we want to have enough room between our circles because we are going to be using watercolor paint today. So we want to have space between our circles to be able to paint in between things. So I've got a variety here. I've got some that have more than one circle. I have one that only has 1 circle extra. This one has 2. This one I've put 3. So you can have a variety, or you can make them all the same. Maybe you want all your circles and each one to have the same number. That's okay too. After you've drawn all your circles, you're going to take crayons, and you can use any colors you want. You're going to trace around all of the circles, even the one that is already on your paper when you started. You can use different colors for each one, or you can use the same color to trace each circle. But every circle on your paper, my crayon broke. And that's okay, because crayons can still write and draw and color, even if they're broken. But you're going to kind of press so that your crayon line really shows up. And you're going to do every single circle that you've got on your paper. So take your time. Make sure you've got all your circles traced. It's okay if your circles don't get traced perfect, like maybe you have a space like that and they're not exactly touching the black Sharpie, and that's okay, but you're just gonna go around each one. And the reason why you're doing this is because we are going to use watercolor paint, and when you use crayon with watercolor paint, it's called a wax resist. The watercolor paint is going to push away from the crayon when you paint on your paper. And I will show you that in just a second. Let me finish my last circle there. So you've got all your circles traced, and then you're ready to get your supplies for painting. Remember, we've painted before, and I've talked to you about making sure your brush stays nice and wet. So if your brush has a bad hair day and the brush looks like it really needs a drink of water, make sure you give your brush a drink of water so that your brush can paint without making your paint too gooey. Because sometimes when you try to put a dry brush in your paints, it gets kind of gooey and stringy, and we don't want that to happen. Remember also that when you're painting with watercolor, you are being gentle when you get your paint. You're just going to give your brush a drink of water, put it in the color you want to use, and gently rub it around. If you put your brush on your paper and it's not looking like the color, or it's very light, that means you need to put it back in the paint for a little bit longer and rub it around, or you might need a little more water. So make sure you keep an eye on that. We are going to paint first all of the background. So you're going to pick different colors to do each of your background squares when you start your painting. And it's okay if they blend. My two squares are starting to blend right here. I've got yellow and red, and it started to make a little bit of orange at the top. That's okay, but you're going to try to stay inside each square. Make sure you give your brush a good drink. If you want to use the same color again, if you want to have more than one yellow or more than one red or whatever color you use for your background, make sure you put it in a different spot. So this is yellow. I can't put yellow right next to it because they would be touching. This one's red. I can't put red right next to it. But if I wanted to use yellow again, yellow could go here because it's not right next to the other one that's yellow. So you want to make sure that you use at least two colors to paint in your background without letting them touch each other. So I'm going to try to finish my background so I can show you more of what happens when you paint inside your circles where you traced with your crayons. So I'm going to do this one green, and then I think I'll do this one orange. I haven't used orange yet, but you don't have to use a different color for everything, every background. You can, like I said, you can pick just a couple colors. Let's stay away from black and brown though. Let's try to stay with just our bright colors. Now, once you're done with all your backgrounds and all you have left are your circles, you're going to pick some colors and you're going to paint inside your circles, and you are going to try to paint inside each one so that you can really see what happens when the paint touches the crayon. See how it's jumping away? It's jumping away where that crayon is. It doesn't want to stick to it. You don't want to rub too hard though. And here's another one. See, it's gonna push away from that crayon. It doesn't want to stick. If you want to paint all of your circle, like I picked yellow here, if you want to paint all of them yellow, that's okay. Or if you want to do some that are different colors and paint in between, you can do that too. There, it was jumping away from that crayon right there. Try not to pick the same color that your background is for the circle that's right next to it. But you can put the same color from your background in the middle of your circles. Just try to pick a different color for the outside so it's not one complete color. I didn't want to make this whole, you don't want to make your whole thing look one complete color.